Judge Faith. Plans for a graduation vacation go bad, but don't go south.
The problem was it's in the wrong state. She thought Myrtle Beach was in North Carolina.
We got this trip for dirt cheap and they want to complain about ridiculous stuff.
I get the impression that none of you really knew where Myrtle Beach was.
Plaintiffs Tiffany Armstrong, Michaela Bennett, and Sierra Niles are suing their former friend for vacation rental costs and punitive damages. Defendant Destiny Cherry said her friends left her to make plans, and she did the best she could. She is accompanied in court by her father, Daron Cherry.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this case is Niles, Bennett, and Armstrong versus Cherry.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, Sierra Niles, Michaela Bennett, and Tiffany Armstrong. You are suing the defendant, Destiny Cherry, for $300 for the cost of a canceled senior trip and $1,000 in punitive damages. Okay, which one of you wants to start first? Tell me what happened.
I'll start.
And who are you?
I'm Sierra.
Okay.
Basically,
How do you know the defendant?
We were friends. We've been friends since our freshman year in high
And
school.
who are you, sir?
I'm Destiny's father.
Okay, why don't you have a seat for a second? Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Sierra.
Basically, where we live in Akron. Every year, like after graduation, we go to Myrtle Beach for senior trips. So we decided that we wanted to do that. And
who was in charge of planning the trip?
She put herself in charge.
Tell me about that. How did that happen?
She texted us and told us that her mom had connections with the condo that she was getting us. So her mom basically booked it for us.
Okay, and you all gave her money for the condo?
Yes.
Where was the trip supposed to be?
South Carolina.
South Carolina, but she booked the house in North Carolina.
And that's where the problem
because it was in the wrong state.
Yes.
Okay, and how much money did you give her?
$94 each.
Okay. So Destiny, what happened?
They kind of assumed that it was in South Myrtle Beach. I never said north or south. I said it around the Myrtle Beach area, you know?
But you know there's a big difference between North and South Myrtle Beach and where you booked the condo.
It's about a 30, 45-minute difference driving time. And so I'm like, okay, well, you guys would drive 10 to 11 hours, so what is a 45-minute difference gonna hurt?
What's your name?
Michaela.
Michaela,
Yes.
what was your understanding as to the destination of the trip, where you were supposed to go?
My understanding was we were supposed to go
Assumptions.
to
Hold on one
South
second.
Carolina.
South Carolina, the Myrtle Beach area.
Yes.
I get the
And the
impression
week
that
before-
none of you really knew where
She
Myrtle
didn't
Beach was.
Your Honor, excuse me, can I speak? They put this all in my hands. All they had to do, okay, first of all, the condo that my mom put her name in for us did us a favor. The rental that I booked myself, that I did everything on my own.
You had to
And
put a
then
deposit down to reserve the condo?
Yes, we all put $29 in for a deposit besides Sierra because she came in the situation later. And so, yeah, they both got,
$29?
exactly. We got this trip for dirt cheap and they want to complain about ridiculous stuff.
One second. What was the problem with the location that she booked?
The problem was it's in the wrong state, and it's like she wanted us to put in. She wanted us to put money up for gas that we didn't have, basically. Like, she just wanted us to fix the problem.
She booked at a location in North Carolina, which is where a lot of retirees.
Yeah, exactly.
And you didn't want to go to.
It wasn't the
North Carolina.
North Myrtle Beach and South Myrtle Beach. It was us.
It was North Carolina, that location in South Carolina.
South Carolina.
And you wanted to go to the one where the big parties are.
Yes,
that people go to
basically.
for their trips. When do you find out that the condo is in North Carolina?
We found out on June 7th, which was a week before we were going to leave.
And what was your response to that?
We texted her and we asked her where was the house at because she said she lost the contract. She didn't know any of the information.
Well, did you all do anything to volunteer to help?
We didn't know.
Okay.
Because she took control of it. She seemed like she had everything under control.
Right.
I
understand that. I understand that.
They could.
Destiny,
why can't I talk?
What was the issue with the condo? When you realized that the condo was in North Carolina and not South Carolina, where you all really wanted to be, did you try to talk to the condo and get a refund?
There was nothing I can do about that because
No, she didn't try.
Excuse me.
Even here it says
said, I'm not
even trying to be the B word, but there's no refund. I'm not calling that lady. I'm not canceling the trip.
What are you reading?
The text messages.
Let me see the text message. Barbara, would you hand that to me?
Can I speak, Your
What
Honor?
happened, Destiny, with the condo?
There was no, for me, there was no refund because I was still going. I paid for this trip. It's not just about them. My money was in it too. Me and another girl were still going, so it's no refund because we were still going and our money was in it. It's not, we paid too.
5 other people.
We paid too. Okay, but we paid too. It's not just about you guys because you guys went.
And it's not about you. It's not about you either.
We all put, I put my money into it.
We
so
all
I'm
put
going
our
to
money
go.
into you and you messed up.
Ladies,
Ladies, you guys could have came and got this
keep it up,
contract.
and I'm gonna send Barbara over there. You don't want me to have to do that.
Coming up on Judge Faith.
It wasn't like we didn't want to go. They didn't have no plans for us to do. She wasn't like, we don't have that much money.
Well, is Destiny a travel agent?
Thank you, Your Honor, thank you.
Tiffany Armstrong, Michaela Bennett, and Sierra Niles say their friend booked their vacation in the wrong state and are suing for a refund of their money. Defendant Destiny Cherry says she booked what they could afford.
Destiny, you felt like because they could have gone on the trip if they
Yes.
wanted to.
Nothing stopped
and they
them. Nothing
chose
hindered them.
not to go,
Yes,
that you didn't owe them a refund.
Yes.
It wasn't like we didn't want to go. They didn't have no plans for us to do. She wasn't like, we don't have that much money.
Well, is
to spend
Destiny
on
a
the trip.
travel agent?
Thank
Like,
you.
why is she
Your
planning all the
Honor, thank
activities? I mean, she volunteered.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
just wondering, because here's what's going on. Here's what I'm thinking about right now.
To do in Myrtle Beach.
Can
Was
I
this your
speak?
first trip like, out of state?
No.
Just amongst friends? So
No.
have you guys been to this beach before?
No.
The way I hear this, she made a mistake.
Yes.
You understand?
And she didn't try to correct her mistake.
Try to accommodate us at all.
She didn't try to do anything. I understand.
Because,
I would have
because
went.
it was petty.
But
It was 30 to 45 minutes. What is a 10-hour drive to a 45-minute
every
difference?
day.
That's
every
nothing.
day.
The gas
Who's
station.
driving
but
that?
you really
And
think
then
it's
it's
right?
over.
Do you really
And
think?
a normal
Okay, can I speak? In a normal city, it would take that much to get to all the attractions anyways.
Girls, girls,
Why are you so
direct your questions to the judge, your comments to the judge, please. Don't talk to each other.
There's a better way to handle things when they don't work out the way you want them to work out.
We tried.
Number
Because
one, no, let
I
me
called-
finish. This is my time to talk.
Okay.
Let me finish. Destiny and her mother put down the credit card to reserve this condo. You have to understand that she meant to book the condo in the right location. She made a mistake. And the three of you, you've all told me that none of you volunteered to help in this planning process. She volunteered to do it, but none of you stepped up and said, hey, Destiny, I'll help you out. Let me help you look. She did that, her own time and effort to do that. And you guys just, took her to the Raptors on Twitter
No,
and
we
in
did
text
not.
messages. Yes, you
we
did.
did.
Who's Thug Life?
Me.
That's your Twitter
That's
handle?
me. That's me.
What do you think a person is going to think about you when they see that your Twitter handle is Thug Life?
I don't know.
They're not going to think anything nice. You're 18 years old. Are you going to college?
Yes.
Are you going to get a job?
Yeah, I have a job.
What about when employers see that your Twitter handle is Thug Life? You don't think that they're going to think a certain way about that?
I don't know.
Everything that you put on social media now, these tweets that you guys are tweeting, who tweeted about the AK-47?
That was not about her.
What was that about?
Can I talk?
That wasn't about her at all.
You guys, you should have just gone on the trip. The beach is only 45 minutes away.
Who's
I
paying for that?
actually agree with Destiny. What's the big deal? Dad, what do you want to say? What do you want to say?
What does he have to say?
What do you want to say?
No, I just felt bad about the situation. Because where we're from in Akron, it's many people getting killed regularly. And it's a very serious situation out there. And they're tweeting AK-47. People are literally getting killed every day.
Nothing to do with her.
Well, he makes a good point.
I'm
He
just
makes a
saying
good
that
point
it
because-
seemed that's what my daughter
Because
told
what
me. I
he's
didn't say
trying
you
to
guys
listen,
meant to.
I know what subtweeting is, and I know what that
Exactly.
means. That means
We
you
weren't
don't
talking about
mention
her.
the person, but you're tweeting things. It's like
Exactly.
those sending out those subtweets because you want someone to read it
This
and make a
happened like
difference.
last
We
week.
don't.
I know
This
what
happened last
subtweeting
week.
is.
This has
We've seen
nothing
the
to do
purge.
with
This had
her at
nothing
all.
to do with her.
Who are you referring to then when you mention AK-47?
I didn't say AK-47.
Who sent the tweet about the AK-47?
That wasn't me. I didn't say
You
nothing
did.
about
Okay.
AK-47.
So why are you tweeting about an AK-47?
It's Twitter. I didn't know, I had to filter my tweets.
Everything you put on the internet, consider it permanent. Consider it, you can never remove it. It will always be associated with your name. Everything you put on Facebook, everything you put on Twitter, everything you put on Instagram, you never know who's reading it, who's taking screenshots of it. You never know. So in your mind, you're thinking, oh, I'm just tweeting it and my friends are just reading it. That's not the case. So don't tweet about AK-47s and send vile threats via Twitter, because someone can take that very seriously, and the next thing you know, the police are knocking on your door.
Okay, but that has nothing to do
But
with
it's no direct connection to her. There's no direct connection to her.
All right, ladies, I've heard enough. If this is such a big problem for all of you and you took it to this level that you did, you're 18 years old, if her making a mistake and booking a condo in the wrong state is the biggest problem you'll ever have in your life, consider yourselves very lucky, okay? This cannot be the way. This cannot be the way you react to something when it doesn't work out just quite the way you want it to work out. You understand? I'm not going to punish her for trying and making a good faith effort to book this trip, and I'm not going to make her pay you back $300. So my judgment in this case is for the defendant. Good luck.
Judge Faith, grandparents demand payment from their granddaughter after her son and the neighborhood kids get a little out of control.
I get around the corner, I see kids kicking on my car. So when they saw me, they broke and ran.
I don't even know why she's here, because it's not her car.
I don't want this strife in my family. I love her.
Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, as someone who's lost all their grandparents, there will come a time when you will cherish every moment you had to spend with your grandmother.
Plaintiff Mehdi Stamps says he caught the defendant's son kicking his car while playing outside with his friends. He's suing for car damages. He's accompanied in court today by his wife, Joanne Stamps. Defendant Denisha Williams says she doesn't know because her son could not have caused that much damage. And Mehdi is just trying to pocket money.
Mehdi Stamps?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendant Denisha Williams.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
For $300 you say she owes you for damages to your car?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you have a witness with you today, your wife, Joanne Stamps.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you for being here, ma'am. So I'll start with you, Mr. Stamps. Give me some background. How do you know Ms. Williams?
Through my wife,
Okay.
and this is a granddaughter.
So this is your wife's granddaughter?
Yes,
So
Your
this is
Honor.
family?
Yes,
How long have you been married?
about 7, 8 years.
7, 8 years, okay. And are you close?
No,
with-
ma'am.
You're not close, but what about with your
My grandmother, yes.
How would you describe your relationship prior to this lawsuit?
It was okay.
Why don't you step up, ma'am?
She lives with my great-grandmother, so I go over there to see both of them, but it's not that often that I go over there.
Okay, and how would you describe your relationship with Ms. Williams?
Pleasant. That's my granddaughter. That's my first granddaughter, Your Honor.
Okay.
And this thing has me so upset.
I'm upset as well, Your Honor.
Why?
Because I don't want this strife in my family. I love her.
I love her, too.
And I love her son, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this is upsetting to me as
Let
well.
her talk. Let her
sorry.
talk.
I feel very, very bad because this is happening. I love her. I love my husband. I call him Little Walter. I love him. And I just want us to be cordial, at least cordial with each other.
Are you not speaking over this lawsuit?
No, I saw Denisha, and she looked at me like she didn't know me and walked past me, Your Honor. That hurts.
You didn't say anything to me.
That hurts.
Sir, tell me what happened with the car.
This particular day, I was over to my mother-in-law's house, which is her mother. And the kids usually be riding their bicycle outside. And I was about to leave to go home. So I get around the corner, I see kids kicking on my car.
More than one?
It was 4 kids there, Your Honor.
Kicking on my car. And I don't know, I just went crazy, you know, just couldn't believe someone just kicking on my car.
They're just
for no
kicking your
uncaused
car?
Yeah, kicking my right fender on my car. And I said, wait a minute, what's going on here? So when they saw me, they broke and ran. I got in my car, and drove around the corner, called my wife out. I said, Joanne, come out here and look at my car. She came out and looked at my car. She couldn't believe it.
And ma'am, is it your testimony that prior to this there had not been a dent there?
No, ma'am, it hadn't.
And did you find out who the other children were, sir?
We know who they were.
Oh, you know all. You know all.
We
of
know
them.
all the kids.
So are you suing for the total amount or just for a portion of the amount? The $300.
The total amount.
That's the total amount. Let me see the dent. That's a significant dent in the car. And
Yeah.
so what did your grandson say when you talked to him about kicking the car?
My wife talked to him about it, asked him why did you do this to the car?
And what did he say, ma'am?
He said because it was a dare.
And Ms. Williams, what do you have to say about that?
This whole ordeal is upsetting. I'm 5 months pregnant. I haven't even told my grandmother that I'm getting ready to have another baby. They don't speak to me. Before this ordeal, my son and Medi, they were, they spoke. They hung out together. They went to the store.
How old is your son?
He's 9. And he has not said a word to me. He has not spoken to my son. He completely ignores us when we're over at my great-grandmother's house.
And is that true, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
But, he's 9 years old.
Yes.
And I know you say he kicked your car and caused damage to your car.
Yes, Your Honor.
But why would you stop speaking to them because of that?
Well, Your Honor, I was really afraid to say anything to him because anything that I may say something to him, it may be held against me.
What do you mean it will be held against you?
Well, we never had any problem. Never had any problem. My great-grandson called me Grandpa Medi, and I just don't know what happened up to this point.
Did you have a discussion with your wife about filing the lawsuit?
Yes, we talked it over.
And what did she say?
She said, go on and do what you have to do.
But obviously, you're upset that it had to come to this point because you don't want to have to sue your granddaughter.
No, of course not, Your Honor.
Coming up on Judge Faith, the family feud gets even more heated.
Do you think your grandmother is lying when she said there wasn't a dent in the car?
I don't know, ma'am.
Why would you even say something like that?
Plaintiff Medi Stamps says he caught the defendant's son kicking his car. He's suing for car damages. He's accompanied in court today by his wife, Joanne Stamps. Defendant Denisha Williams says she doesn't know because her son could not have caused that much damage.
And I understand your son submitted a statement to the court?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me listen to this statement.
Tell me exactly what happened to Medi's car.
It was a dent already there, the size of a sandwich. And I kicked it again, and it got bigger. The other kid, he had a metal pipe. He was on the bike. He had scratched it. And then a man was running down, and he saw us doing stuff to his car that he wasn't supposed to. And then he drove down the street, and he said, "Your mama gonna pay for my stuff."
And so what punishment did he receive for kicking the car?
I punished him at home. I didn't allow him to go outside and play. He wasn't allowed to play any video games. But when Mr. Stamps came down to where they were at, my son told me that he told him. He said stuff on the video, but he cursed at him. He told him that your mom's going to pay for my...
But he's upset at the time, right?
Yes.
No, he should not probably have used that word with your son.
Yes, ma'am.
But under the circumstances, in the heat of the moment, that's what happened.
Yes.
But the bigger issue is why he would damage his own grandfather's property like this. And why is $300 unreasonable to pay for the damage?
It's not unreasonable, ma'am. I told him that I wanted to get a second opinion before I agreed to pay the whole $300 because my son told me the dent was already there. I said, I'll be responsible for some of the damage, but you want me to pay the whole price, and I don't feel like I need to pay the whole price.
Do you think your grandmother is lying when she said there wasn't a dent in the car? Do you think she would lie just to get $300?
I don't know, ma'am. I don't even know why she's here because it's not her car.
I'm here because you're my granddaughter.
And I'm her husband.
You are my granddaughter, Denisha. You're my first grandchild.
I know that.
Okay, well, act like that then, because this is... Why would you even say something like that? You don't know why I'm here. I'm married to this man.
It's his car. It's my child that I'm responsible for. The only interaction I had with her was when he gave me the estimate from the auto shop. He told me it was $1,500. Then he told me $340. They crossed out $340 and put it even $300, and he had already given them permission to work on his car 2 days later. And when I spoke to him on the phone, he said, well, you don't have to give me the whole $300. I'll take $100.
I'm trying to understand why you're more upset with them than you are with your son.
Because that dent was already there, Your Honor, and I don't think that my son could have caused that much damage by himself.
Well, no, he said other people were kicking and hitting the car. But and did you ask anyone else to make any contributions to the damage to the car?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And under the law, frankly, he doesn't have to. Under the law doesn't, when you have a group of individuals, in this case, causing damage to property, the law doesn't apportion guilt in terms of, well, this scratch over here is this person caused it, and this dent over here, this side of the dent, that's what your son caused. That's not the way the law works. You can hold either one of them responsible or all of them responsible, and it's a reasonable conclusion to make in the case that we know your son was kicking the car. We know in the exact spot he was kicking it, there is a dent. So it's reasonable to infer that he's the cause of it.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
This happened back in May, right?
Yes.
You know that you can't show up to the family reunion with this outstanding dispute, right? You know that can happen.
Yes.
You know that, right? The next family gathering, this issue will be hanging over the entire gathering.
His car could have been fixed, Your Honor. He refused to help.
Well, I find that the responsibility lies with you. You live in a state where if your child damages another person's property, you can be held responsible for that. And I find that the request made in this case were reasonable, $300, and even offered to make payments. So I'm going to order you to pay the $300, but the bigger question is, are you going to speak to your grandmother when you walk out of this courtroom today?
What I would like to happen, Your Honor, is I would like to go over and give her a hug now.
By all means.
You gonna hug me back, Danisha?
Sure.
Okay, come on. I love you, Danisha.
Now, Danisha, act like you mean it. Act like you mean it. Stop.
Ma'am?
Act like you mean it. You are now pregnant. You're 5 months pregnant. That's your grandmother,
this is
right?
upsetting to me, too.
Well, I'm just telling you, this is your family. And I'm going to tell you right now, as someone who's lost all their grandparents, there will come a time where you will cherish every moment you had to spend with your grandmother. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff, $300. Good luck to all of you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
As far as me making things right with my grandmother, I'm still going to speak to her because that's my grandmother, but other than that, I don't really have anything else to say.
Danisha, I love you, and let's just drop this. Let's let it go, and let's just be family.
Judge Faith, a kid's joyride ends in a couple's front yard.
I consider myself a pretty safe driver, honestly.
There was a couple of eyewitnesses. They described the impact as being like an earthquake.
But there's a person on the road that I wasn't trying to kill that day.
You get robbed of your $10 at the taco truck.
Yeah.
You stole a car. You're driving down the street and you save a life. All those things happen to you in one night.
Plaintiffs Aaron Babe and Douglas DeAngelis say they were asleep when the defendant crashed his car into their front yard. They're suing for damages to their home and the value of a vehicle. Defendants Ophelia and David Garcia say they owe nothing because the accident wasn't David's fault, since he lost control swerving to miss a man in the street.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of DeAngelis and Bain versus Garcia and Garcia.
Thank you, Juan. Douglas DeAngelis?
Yes, ma'am.
And Aaron Bain?
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendants David Garcia and Ophelia Garcia for $4,500 you say they owe you for damages to your home and the value of a vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we start from the beginning? Tell me what's going on here.
Okay. On the night of the accident, Aaron and I had gone to sleep about 10 o'clock, and we actually woke in the middle of the night around 3 to find a series of phone calls and text messages that we had missed saying that there was a really serious accident in front of our house, and to come up, and we had missed those. And when we went outside...
Who were the text messages from?
From our neighbors.
Okay.
When we went outside, we found Aaron's Volvo pushed about 7 feet across the driveway through a concrete wall. And obviously there was a lot of damage. The front wall was all damaged. The car was obviously totaled. But it was hours after it happened, so there was nobody out there at that point. So we came inside. There was a card from a police officer on the front door. So I called him, and he gave me an idea what had happened, but not a very clear idea what had happened.
And so the police, they tell you they got the information of the driver who had this accident, and it's the defendant?
Yes.
And that's how you're able to contact him?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you tell me what happened? Were you driving a car that night?
Yeah, I was driving,
Okay, take me to the beginning. What happened?
How
old are you?
I'm 18.
All right, and this is your mother?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
So I took my mom's car without permission that afternoon. I had went to visit a friend near Crenshaw over there. So like I didn't really know the neighborhood that well, but I had stayed there till like 9 p.m.
Did you know he had your car?
No, Your
No,
Honor.
shit.
Where were you?
Was with my brother and sister-in-law with the kids. We took them to the movies.
Okay, has he taken your car before without your permission?
No.
Do you have a
No.
license?
No, I was supposed to take my driver license test at the end of this month.
Okay, so you didn't have, okay, so you take the car and you go and pick up a friend of yours?
No, I was at the house for like until 9 p.m. and then we went to go get tacos. And when we went to go get tacos, I had taken out like $10 to go get tacos, right?
Tacos from where? Taco truck?
Yeah, taco truck. And I went up to the taco truck and there was like a woman like beside me. I wasn't focused on her because I was hungry. I took out the $10 bill and I'm about to like hand it to the guy. She snatches it from me and she starts running down the like 2 blocks and she makes a left and she goes into this alley. But
So someone robbed you of your taco money
Yeah, my taco money.
at the taco truck.
At the taco truck.
And what happens next?
I was all angry because like half of it was for tacos and half of it was for like my mom's gas money. So like if I didn't put gas, she was gonna find out I took the car. So like I was just angry about all that too. I went to go drop off my friend and then after I just took the freeway to go home. And I got off on Figueroa and like since I know Montecito like the back of my head, that was like my shortcut home.
Okay, so you're driving and you're on, take me to Montecito Drive. What happens?
Yeah, I was going up to Montecito and it's a really dark area right there. Like you could like barely see anything at night. I was still kind of mad in my head, so like I was hitting like at least 40, 45 miles per hour. And there's this guy jogging down the middle of the road or something.
What time of night is this? Is at 10:30?
Yeah, it was like around 10:30 already. I was speeding already. Like by the time I seen him, he had like jumped off to the side just like so he could like not get hit. And I was so scared of hitting him, so I had swerved to the left, like just so I could avoid him, and I did. And by that time it was too narrow, and like my mom's brake in the car, like her brakes they're not really that well.
So what happened? You hit what?
I hit the Volvo in the driveway, and like it got pushed up to the wall, like they said, and destroyed the wall. And then like I just got off the car, and I just wanted to make sure like the guy was okay. He told me he was okay. Then all of their neighbors just came out, and they're just like they didn't even ask me if I was okay or anything. They're just like who is there? Like what happened? Like oh what's going on? And they're like I stepped out of the car. They're like it would be a little Mexican boy or something. That's what they told me. I was like what the like. But then like they had other neighbors that like they were like there was this woman right there. She was just like asking if I was okay or stuff like that. And then I just waited till the cops arrived.
So who called the police?
One of their neighbors. I'm not too sure.
Okay, and so you realized at this point that you'd hit a car and that car had hit a home, but you didn't know whose home it was.
Yeah, I didn't know whose home it was. I just stayed outside waiting like this. I knocked on the door, but no answer.
Coming up on Judge Faith, will the story stick?
And you don't think you're responsible because why?
I consider myself a pretty safe driver, honestly.
Sir, you hit somebody's car in their garage. Her car was parked in the driveway of their house.
Plaintiffs Aaron Boehm and Douglas DeAngelis say David was speeding and lost control of his car. They're suing for damages to their home and the value of a vehicle. Defendants David and Ophelia Garcia say they own nothing because the accident wasn't David's fault.
Let me see photos of the damages. So whose car is the red car?
That is
Is that that's the car you were driving?
Yeah, the Kia.
Okay, okay, I see now.
Aaron's
so you
car is
drove
the
all
white
the way
car
up
is
into
mine.
the driveway, and you hit the car, causing that car to hit the garage.
Yeah.
Okay, next photo. That's the back of your car?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the next day now.
The next day, okay. Why do you think you aren't responsible for the damages?
To be honest, Your Honor, because I was trying not to kill that person. Honestly, I could have made that turn like nothing because like I've done that before on that same place.
You've done what before?
That.
Drive the
Drive through that.
Montecito,
Yeah,
correct.
at that fast of a speed. It was.
But okay, you don't have a license.
I don't.
So you drive all the time without a license?
No, Your Honor. My brother is teaching him how to drive because he was gonna take the test. He has an appointment for July.
He wasn't in the car
31st.
with your brother
At
the
that
time.
moment, at that day.
Right. So you're taking your mother's car without her permission, and you don't think you're responsible because why?
I consider myself a pretty safe driver, honestly.
Sir, you hit somebody's car in their garage. Her car was parked in the driveway of their house.
But there was a person on the road that I wasn't trying to kill that day. If he wasn't
So you saved a life?
No.
That's what you're saying?
I almost took and saved a life.
Your Honor.
So you stole a car, you get robbed of your $10 at the taco truck.
Yeah.
You're driving down the street and you save a life. All those things happen to you in one night, and you think by crashing into someone's car, causing their car to park in the garage, you don't think you're responsible because by your account, you saved somebody's life by not hitting them.
Yes, Your Honor. That's what I'm saying.
How fast do you say you were going that night?
40, 45.
You're sure about that?
Pretty positive, yeah.
Okay.
The next day, I spoke to all of the neighbors on our street that were there, and one after the next, they all gave a very different account of what happened.
Do you have any witness statements?
I do, yes.
May I see those? And those were given to the police or you?
They were just given to me. They all told me a similar story, one after the next, that they heard tires squealing coming up the hill, that he was going at a very high rate of speed. There was a couple of eyewitnesses, and that they heard tires screeching up the street, that they described the impact as being, one of them said like an earthquake. One of the neighbors is 4 houses past where the accident happened, and he could hear the car coming up the street.
Okay. Do you have any witnesses with you today to testify about what they saw?
We do,
okay.
yes.
Who do you have?
His name is Michael Starks. He's my next door neighbor. He and his sister were both standing outside their house in their driveway and heard him coming up the street. They both said they...
Okay, I'll hear his testimony. Hi, state your name for the record, please.
Michael Starks.
Sir, I understand that you are a neighbor of the plaintiff.
Yes.
And you witnessed an incident back in May of this year.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why don't you tell me what you witnessed?
My cousin came over to visit us, and we had to move our cars back. So we moved our car so he could, go out. So while we were done moving our car...
How far away is your house from his?
Oh, right next to it.
Oh, so you're next door neighbors.
Right next, yes.
Okay.
So we begin to hear a loud screeching from Lease, maybe a house down, and we're like, what's that sound? So we turn around, and we just see the car. We're in our driveway. We see the car just going at high rate speed, and he just hit the wall and hit the car.
Did you see anyone else in the street jogging or with the phone or
nobody was jogging.
anything?
Nobody was jogging. We were just in a driveway, talking to each other, going into the house. That's when we heard the loud screech down the two.
So you saw the accident actually happen?
Yes.
And what happened after you saw the car that was screeching hit the other car?
He began to try to reverse, I don't know if he's trying to leave or just trying to reverse. And that's when he couldn't, because it's got tangled with with the wall of the car, so he couldn't get out at all.
Okay.
So that's when we began to go towards him and ask him if he's okay. And
what was the conversation when you approached him?
I said,
was that the person?
Yes.
Okay. What was the conversation?
We just said, are you okay? What are you doing? And I think he said, I was just mad at myself. I'm like, okay, why are you mad at yourself? Are you on drugs or anything? He's like, no, I'm not on drugs or anything like that. And that's basically the conversation was, are you okay? And why are you going so fast? That's what you said.
Well, you testified that no one asked if you were okay, and look at the little Mexican. He was the first person you saw that night?
No, Your Honor. After I got out the car, was it your sister that was there or something?
It was me, my sister, and my cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, I was his sister that was asking me if I was okay or something, and then I guess it was your cousin recording the whole thing or something on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing was
video?
Yeah, the whole thing was being recorded the whole time.
Coming up, a cell phone captures the rest of the story.
Yeah, dude, I was going really fast. I was hitting at least 80, 70 miles per hour, dude.
So you weren't even telling the truth when you said that? Is that what you're saying? You didn't know what you were talking about that night when you were telling him you were going 80 miles an hour?
Right after the crash, I was a little panicky.
I think it's time for you to start taking responsibility for what you did that night at this accident.
Plaintiffs Aaron Boehm and Douglas DeAngelis say David crashed his car into their home. They're suing for damages to their home and the value of a vehicle. Defendants David and Ophelia Garcia say they own nothing, and the plaintiffs are taking advantage of the situation.
Well, let's see. Do you have the video?
Yes.
Oh, great. Let's watch it.
Yeah, dude, I was going really fast. I was hitting at least 80, 70 miles per hour, dude. I was really mad at myself. I just up right now.
Really? That's your voice on the video,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
That's you talking?
Yes. Yeah.
You were going 80? 75? So when did it get down to 40, 45 before you walked into court today?
Your Honor, if I was going that fast, my
No,
mom...
sir, these are your, young man,
right.
these are your words.
Yes, I know this.
This is you on the video, right?
Yes, I'm not denying
Before
anything,
you knew
Your
you were
Honor.
ever going to come to court, before you ever knew you would be sued.
Yes, I know.
You were going 80, 70 miles an hour.
If I was going that fast, to be honest, my mom's airbags still work. The airbags would have came out. What had happened is I hit my head on the steering wheel, and I was still a little woozy from everything. So that's what I said. That was the first things that come out of my mouth. But to be honest, I was only hitting at least 45,
So now
50.
you're an accident reconstructionist because you're saying had you really been going that fast, the airbags would have deployed. So you weren't even telling the truth when you said that. Is that what you're saying? You didn't know what you were talking about that night when you were telling him you were going 80 miles an hour?
Right after the crash, I was a little panicky.
I think it's time for you to start taking responsibility for what you did that night of this accident. Now would be the time. Now would be the time. Ms. Garcia, now would be the time for your son to take responsibility for the accident. He didn't know that he was going to be on video and it was going to be presented today, and he's on video saying he was going 80, 70 miles per hour. There was no one else in the street. You didn't save a life. You were upset about something. I don't know about what, but clearly you're responsible for this accident.
Look, Your Honor, I'll take responsibility for it. It was my fault that the accident happened, but I was there. I was the one who saw the person down the middle of the road, so I made a left. I seen that. I'm just saying this person now exists in the context of this lawsuit, sir. Didn't exist that night. So it's convenient for you to have this excuse now. It wasn't an excuse. I had knew
You
I
are
was being
suing.
recorded
Why are
the
you
whole
suing
time.
his mother? You're 18. You were 18 at the
Yes.
time of this accident?
Yeah.
Why are you suing his mother?
It's his mother's car.
Okay. I'm going to dismiss the case against his mother. She's not responsible here. He took the car without her permission. So he doesn't have a driver's license. He should not be driving, and he took it without her permission. So I'm going to dismiss the case against you, but I am going to order you to pay for damages in this car accident. And so tell me about the damages. What were the damages to the house, the damages to the car?
The car was clearly totaled. I mean,
Whose car is this?
It's
My car,
actually
Your Honor.
Aaron's car. The car, I couldn't move the car.
What year and model is the car?
It's a 2001 Volvo S40.
Do you work, Mr. Garcia? Mr. Garcia, do you have a job?
No, I don't.
Okay, you're going to have to get one after today.
Okay. So if you would bring this to Your Honor as well. So what I did was I brought it to a reputable place. It was actually recommended by the Volvo dealer that had serviced my car. It's actually Aaron's car, but it serviced our car for the last couple years. And he looked at the photos and said, there's no chance.
Where's the Blue Book value?
The Blue Book value is not on there. I did print out 3 different auto traders for the same, of the same vehicle.
What about the damage to the home? Did you have homeowner's insurance didn't cover it?
Yes, ma'am. This is the homeowner's insurance estimate. The damage came out to $3,500.
And what deductible? Did you have to pay a deductible?
$1,000. So that's what I
And you didn't
added.
have insurance on your car?
I had liability, Your Honor.
Okay.
I paid $3,800, or Aaron paid $3,800 for the car 2 years before, and then we had put $2,750 into the car. So we had almost $7,000 invested in the car.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
Have you been in trouble with the law before?
No.
I'm just wondering because you're able to come into court and look a judge right in the eye and lie, and you don't seem to be really nervous about that.
What did I lie about?
Have you been here the last 30 minutes?
Yes, I've been here.
Have you listened to your own testimony?
Yeah.
I have 8 different eyewitness statements and your own video. This is probably one of the best evidentiary cases I've had in a long time in this courtroom.
Like I said, I was not in the right state of mind. The video just says, that's just what I said. It's not what happened. It didn't show anything of the speed or anything of the car.
Did you apologize to your mother for taking your car and having this accident, wrecking her car, and now she's the subject of a lawsuit as well?
Of course. Why wouldn't I
Did he?
apologize?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can't believe somebody would be that upset about some taco money. Here's what I'm going to order you to pay: $1,000 for the deductible, and I'm going to take a median value of the car based on the Blue Book total that I looked up. I'm going to order you to pay the Kelly Blue Book value that I acquired for the car, in addition to the $1,000 deductible. Total judgment in this case is $3,500 for the plaintiff. I hope you get a summer job. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope he learns a lesson from this. From watching him in the court, I just didn't seem like he learned anything. So I don't know that it's going to help him any.
Yeah, I hope he learned too, and it doesn't look like he's being responsible or taking responsibility for it. I mean, you know, he can pay the money, but I don't think he's learned anything, unfortunately. So that's a real shame.
I learned not to take the car without permission. Don't take your parents' cars without permission.
Judge Faith, these fraternity brothers discover they make better friends than roommates.
He felt unsafe because Dylan had a gun, and he would use it to intimidate Jason.
The gun is registered under my father's name.
My God.
And you're not supposed to possess it at 20 years old.
And later, they were picking up their sons at school when their cars collided.
All he had to do was look over to see my vehicle there, and he would have avoided this collision.
I didn't even really hit him.
So you have your version, he has his version, and you decided not to call the police because there was no need to, but look where you are 2 years later.
Yes.
Plaintiffs Dylan and Jim Ferris say Dylan's former roommate and fraternity brother broke a one-year lease several months early. They're suing for unpaid rent and utility bills. Defendant Jason Cole says living with his fraternity brother was a nightmare, and he was forced to move because he felt unsafe. He's countersuing for emotional distress. He's accompanied by Julie Cole.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Ferris and Ferris versus Cole.
Thank you, Juan. Dylan Ferris
Yes, Your Honor.
and Jim Ferris.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendant Jason Cole for $3,000 for unpaid rent and utilities.
That is correct.
And you are countersuing, sir, for $1,000 for emotional distress?
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay, and who's your witness?
This is my mother.
Okay. We'll start with you, Dylan or Jim, whoever wants to start. Why don't you tell me what's going on here, what happened, and why you're suing the defendant?
Okay, well, Your Honor, we originally met freshman year of college at the University of Toledo. We met through the Army ROTC program there at UT. We started becoming good friends about a year later because we joined the same fraternity. And then about a year after that, so about in 14, we decided that we wanted to live together, room together.
So what month and year did the two of you move in together?
That was May of 14. That's when they entered into the lease. He and Jason entered into the lease. The lease is clearly set for 3 people, and so there was discussion to bring in a third.
So you would split the rent 50-50 until you found a third person? Was that the agreement?
It never really got to that point, okay, because there were three people living there, okay, in the house, whereas Jason was going back to California, and they made an arrangement whereas he could keep his truck and keep his belongings there for the summer, okay, for a reduced rate.
Are you about to tell me about other people who are not on the lease living in the apartment?
Yes, and it was
okay.
That was supposed to be, well, there was supposed to be the arrangement, as I understood, that when Jason came back, there would be another roommate it wouldn't be Dylan's girlfriend, it would be another guy that was moving in. And somewhere along the line over the summer, while Jason was home in California, that fell through, and when Jason came back, the girlfriend was living there.
Your girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
But my girlfriend moved in very shortly after Jason moved in, probably 4 to 5 days, maybe. He knew, and I had talked to him about it before she had moved in.
What did the landlord say about her? Because I don't see her as a part of the contract here.
Shortly after Jason moved in, Your Honor, we started pushing towards getting her on the lease. And everything was done for her to be on the lease. Her parental cosign was done. Everything except for her name actually being on the lease. That wasn't brought up, or we didn't even know that was the case until Jason moved out, and my landlord had called me.
You didn't know she wasn't on the lease?
No, we had, the whole time, we had thought that her name was on the lease,
Well,
right
she would have
alongside
to sign.
me and Jason.
She would have to sign a document.
She had done paperwork and everything, and she had done the parental cosign, so I guess it kind of fell in the cracks because my landlord never contacted and said, hey, whoa, there's 3 people living there, there's only 2 people on the lease. What's up with that? We didn't know that her name wasn't on the lease until he moved out. And then my landlord contacts me and says, why isn't her name on the lease? And I said, okay, let's get it on the lease. We have her parental cosign done. We have everything we need to do. Let's have her go in and sign so we can make this official.
And did that happen?
We needed everybody else's on the lease. We needed their agreement.
Right.
Jason refused.
When we knew that we needed to have Jason move out, we suggested that the girlfriend take his place. And the landlord would not consent to that. He would not help to make that happen. He seemed more standoffish and not helpful in these proceedings.
Is that true?
My girlfriend wasn't allowed on the lease because you needed everybody on the lease's agreement.
He would not consent.
He refused. And in turn, he wasn't allowed off the lease because you need everybody's agreement on the lease.
So you broke the lease when you moved out?
I did break the lease because I felt I wasn't safe there anymore.
What were the issues you had living there?
Coming up, the roommates reach a breaking point when a gun is revealed in the home.
He would be sitting on the couch and the gun would just be in front of him. He would carry it to the restroom with him, and it kind of gave me a reason, just like, why is he bringing this around now?
Okay, what's going on?
And later, a dispute over who caused a car crash.
The door actually was stuck from the collision. It wasn't major, but it got dented in and it got scratched up.
Is this photo from the date of the incident?
Probably 3 months.
3 months later.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to know the damages from this accident and not from something that occurred during the 3-month period in between?
Plaintiffs Dylan and Jim Ferris say Jason broke his lease early. They're suing for unpaid rent and utility bills. Defendant Jason Cole says he was forced to move because Dylan made him feel unsafe. He's countersuing for emotional distress.
He felt unsafe because Dylan had a gun and he would use it to intimidate Jason.
What happened?
Wow.
What are you saying happened?
There was an event on October 8th when he found out that I was trying to move out. So he came to me and said, hey, I want to talk about this. I said, no, I'll only discuss this with the landlord present. So I went to my room and locked my door. He didn't accept that as an answer, so he proceeded to come to my room and bang on my door. He was threatening to break the door down, swearing onwards and on for about 20 minutes until I finally came out and tried to talk to him.
When does the gun come in?
The gun came in the next day when I shut the door, emailed my professor, said I can't take this test, left the house. Next day I started to move out. The gun starts coming around, and I said, this is just the end of it. This is giving me every reason to get out. And I alerted the landlord that I would no longer be
living
there
anymore. When you say the gun was coming around, be specific as to what you observed. I'll give you an opportunity to respond, but what are you saying you observed?
He would be sitting on the couch, and the gun would just be in front of him. He would carry it to the restroom with him, and it kind of gave me a reason, just like, why is he bringing this around now? Why does why does he suddenly have a gun?
Where do you want me to start, Your Honor?
Do you have a gun? Did you have a handgun?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have a picture of the gun.
How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
Okay.
The gun is registered under my father's name.
It's my gun.
And you're not supposed to possess it?
In my home.
At 20 years old. What were you doing with the gun in your apartment?
It was home defense. The gun was on my nightstand. I never threatened him with it, and I never even pulled it out around him.
This isn't my first rodeo. I've heard people come in and they break the lease and they say, I wasn't safe, I didn't feel safe. And it's a convenient excuse sometimes to use to get out of a lease. The second thing is you have a duty to mitigate, and that means you can't just come into court and say, hey, he owes me for 6 months rent. You have to prove to me that you actually tried to find someone else to replace him on the lease. You're in the fraternity. You have all these fraternity brothers. University of Toledo is a big school. I find it hard to believe for the remainder of this lease, you could not find one other person to move in, or perhaps you wanted the house for you and your girlfriend to have to yourselves. I don't know. But in this case, I'm not awarding you money for emotional distress because your remedy was to move out of the home. You didn't call the police, you didn't go forward with a formal complaint against him. I'm not awarding you monetary damages for emotional distress. And since you testified that you're suing for unpaid rent for 6 months, you're also suing for the utilities. You said perhaps only $10 or $20 was the amount that he didn't pay. I'm not ordering him to pay any of the utilities as well. And then the third thing I want to say is stay away from each other, because this is my ruling and this is my judgment based on the evidence. So I need for both of you to be grown-ups at this point. Stop talking about things on Facebook. Don't go back to school and start talking about this case and each other. Well, he tricked the judge and he said this and he said all these things about me, because I'm telling you I didn't base my case on that. I based my case on emails and documents that he wrote before he ever knew there would be a lawsuit in this case. I find those documents to be credible. Judgment in this case for the defendant.
Plaintiff Jesus Padilla says he was merging into his lane when the defendant's car hit his Astro van. He's suing for damages to his van. Defendant Timmy Tiet says he doesn't owe any additional money because the plaintiff was found to be partially at fault and received a check from Timmy's insurance company.
Jesus Padilla?
Yes.
You were suing the defendant, Timmy Tiet?
Yes.
For $2,000 for damages to your van you say he caused in a car accident?
That's correct.
Okay, let's start from the beginning, sir. Tell me what happened.
On February 5th, 2013, I was on my way to pick up my son from school, so about 3 o'clock. I was driving northbound on San Gabriel. I submitted some map to the court, if you'd like to take a look at it.
Okay, let's pull that up.
For the area. I was driving northbound on San Gabriel Boulevard. I normally turn on Dewey, which is the next street up.
Why don't you step over to the
okay.
map and you can just point to me and tell me which direction you were traveling.
I would normally go to the next street up, but there was heavy traffic on San Gabriel Boulevard. I entered the left turn lane from this broken area and moved forward in a slow manner. There was cars coming this way, so heavy traffic, so I had to slow down.
Just point to what lane you were in and which direction you were traveling so
This
it can be
lane,
clear.
going northbound.
Okay.
So I was going northbound, about to make my left turn, had to slow down for oncoming traffic, like I said, and the defendant hit me about this area, about 1 car length in front of where I would have named my turn.
Well, where was he coming from?
He was also going northbound, picking up his child also from the same school.
So he was in the lane to your right?
Yes, the lane right next to me.
Okay, so he's traveling in the lane to the right and he crosses over to get into your lane?
Yeah, he merges into my lane, and strikes my vehicle on the passenger side, hitting the passenger side door and the sliding door on the Astro van.
Okay, all right, thank you. And how do you say this happened, sir?
The day that I was trying to get in from the
Right lane to the
right
left lane,
lane to the left
merging.
lane, and before I was making my left, I was looking at the left lane to see any clearing before I turn in. So when I went in, that's when he sideswiped me, and then I didn't even really hit him. So
he sideswiped you?
Yes, he was like running the turn.
Okay, why don't you go over to the map and point to me? Tell me which lane you were in.
I was on this lane, going this lane, trying to get to my left, and then I was trying to here. By the time I got to here, I saw there's no car, so I went in. And then I guess he came behind me and then went over it, and we were making a left, and we were here exchanging information already.
Okay, so you were merging into the left lane. He was already in the left lane. Did you have damages to your car as well?
Yeah.
So what happened after the accident? Did you call the police? Is there a police report?
There's not a police report.
Why not?
Well, we didn't feel that there was a need for one. There was also
really?
a rush to go pick up our children from school.
Okay.
They were a priority. When we pulled over, I mean, as you can see, what he pointed out, he entered through the solid white line. If he would have looked over, if he would have seen his mirror, he would have noticed a big blue Astro van right next to him, right? You know, we weren't speeding. Traffic was slow because of heavy traffic. So all he had to do was look over to see my vehicle there, and he would have avoided this collision.
He's saying that he was getting over into a lane and there was no traffic and you tried to pull up.
That's incorrect, Your
So
Honor.
he would,
Heavy traffic.
that's his version. So you have your version, he has his version, and you decided not to call the police because there was no need to, but look where you are 2 years later.
Yes.
Coming up, Judge Faith digs deeper and discovers the rest of the story.
Basically, they were giving me the runaround. They were giving me the short end of the stick. They didn't want to help me out. The accident was 100% his fault. He hit me from the side. There was no way I could.
According to you?
Yes.
According to him, it's not.
Plaintiff Jesus Padilla says the money he received from the insurance company wasn't enough to pay for the damage caused by the crash. He's suing for damages to his van. Defendant Timmy Tiet says he doesn't owe any further money because the plaintiff was found to be partially at fault.
Show me where the damages are to your vehicle.
Your Honor, when I pulled over, I have pictures also submitted to the court. The damage on my vehicle starts from this AWD from here and back on. That's where his front.
One, would you hand me the photo?
Yes.
Do we have that in the flat screen?
As you can see from the pictures, it's kind of hard to tell. It's not a major collision. It was really slow. So he dented in the...
Show me on the, walk over to
Yes.
the flat screen and show me where the damage is.
So the damage, you can see from this little dimple here, starts from here and ends about right here. The door hinge got angled in. The door actually was stuck from the collision. It wasn't major, but it got dented in and it got scratched up.
Is this photo from the date of the incident?
This photo was, I'm gonna say, months, probably 3 months.
3 months later.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to know the damage is from this accident and not from something that occurred during the 3-month period in between? Step back over to the lectern.
It was never damage to the doorknob or any of those things that I noticed of.
What's going on about the damages to your car?
So when I was trying to go through the insurance,
The two of you exchange information?
Yes,
when,
okay.
when we pulled over on Norwood, I got out, I was trying to assess the damages, and at that point, I saw how sketchy he kind of was. He wasn't very clear about what he was trying to do. It just didn't get a good vibe from him. So I told him, I'm recording this, man. I put the cell phone in my pocket. I was recording it with audio device, my cell phone. And that's when I submitted to the court, is this audio recording that he was basically saying, you know, I'll fix it for you. Basically, he's admitting fault. You know, he's saying that we'll take care of it.
Okay, I want to hear the audio recording. Did you admit fault?
No.
You say you take care of it?
No, I never said I'll take care of it. I said I'll give it to my insurance. I'll give my statement to my insurance. It's part, the insurance have saying that partial is my fault, partial is his fault.
Did you tell him that day, oh, I'm sorry I hit you, I'll take care of
No,
this?
I never say that word. No,
Okay,
sorry.
let me
I
hear
hit
the
you,
audio.
Brandon. There's two ways of giving it, okay? I can just give you some money and you have it, get rid of it, or you can, because the insurance will say anything under 500, it's gonna come out of my pocket. They won't take it.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
So, what do you want to do?
Well, we still got to figure out how much it's going to cost, because if it costs more than that, then I mean, it's better off going through the insurance. You know?
This is a small little matter.
Yeah, that's something small, man. That's no big deal.
Oh, I can just give you $100 and we just go in all separate way.
So,
I mean, you're both saying that this is, he said it's a small matter, you said, yeah, it's a small matter, no big deal. So why are you here suing for $2,000?
Because that's the estimate that I got from Body Shop was $2,500 for
what?
For the damages to the vehicle.
That $2,500 is more than that van is even worth.
Your Honor, I believe the Clearly Blue Book at the time was about $2,700. $2,500 is the damages to fix the vehicle. I understand the cost of the vehicle.
Where's your estimate that it would cost $2,500 to fix the damage as a result of this accident?
Unfortunately, Your Honor, I lost that paperwork in the midst of moving, and I don't have it with me
But you
currently.
knew you were coming to court today, and this is your case.
I did. Your Honor, my intentions at the beginning were never to sue. I wanted to get it cleared, fixed through the insurance.
How am I supposed to assess damages if you have no proof of what they are?
The insurance, Your Honor, paid me a sum of $474.84.
Okay.
And they told me that was 25% of what their estimated repair costs were.
So they only paid 25%.
So, Your Honor,
what did you pay out of pocket to fix the van?
I haven't fixed it. It wasn't fixed. The accident was 100% his fault. He hit me from the side. There was no way I could.
According to you?
Yes.
According to him, it's not.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
What else do you have in terms of putting fault aside? How do I know how much it would cost to repair the van? Where's the van?
The van has been sold since the accident, Your Honor.
You don't have the van anymore?
I don't have the van anymore.
You
it has
sold
been
it?
over 2 years since the van was
So
in the
you're
accident.
asking for money to repair a van that you don't even own anymore?
I'm asking for money for the van that I could have sold for more. I sold the van for about $500.
Show me proof that you sold the van for $500.
I don't have that proof with me, Your Honor.
I can't help you, sir. I can't help you. You tell me you sold the van for $500. For all I know, you sold it for $2,500. You have no proof in court as to how much you sold the van for. You don't own the van anymore. I can't help you, sir. Your case is dismissed. Judgment in this case for the defendant.